going live happily. It's a good thing. We are going live. It's good. I just gotta get my video across here. Experiment. I'll share it around. See what that does. All right. Yeah, I know I'm live, so I can see the little dial moving. Nobody's here yet, though. Like always, I mean, nobody ever shows up. But yeah, we are live. I am quick getting a video off my tablet that I have on here that I recorded earlier this week. I gotta kill like all my pictures off my tablet. Mostly because there's a lot of pictures on my tablet and I have to get them off. I mean, like anybody really cares, but hey Alter, what's up? Well, I mean, besides usual, it's Saturday, so it's podcast day. Yep, we're talking Scooby-Doo today because next week I actually have a little bit of a surprise we're going to announce then. Because next week, provided nothing changes, which it actually shouldn't because I got my schedule for the week, so everything's good. I might be recording early next Saturday. Neat little caveat there. Yeah, neat little caveat. I might be recording early next Saturday. My mom got invited to a Halloween thing. I'm not invited. It's fine. I'm not invited. I'm not exactly a fan of parties. I never was. So I wasn't really invited. But my mom was, and she's going to go. So it'll just be me alone with Twix. And I might just set up the computer out in the dining room and go live in the afternoon. I never liked that one. I never liked What's New Scooby-Doo. I remember watching the reruns of that. I actually have a friend that is a huge Scooby. She's huge into Scooby-Doo. Because I think it was like maybe my grandfather was still alive yet. I want to say like almost 4 years ago, the post office had these Scooby-Doo stamps. And I actually remember going there and buying a set of those stamps for her. Because she is a humongous Scooby-Doo nut. And I remember getting her the Scooby-Doo stamps. See, you want to know the ironic part? Okay, I'm not a humongous Scooby-Doo fan. I never have been. However, I love A Pup Named Scooby-Doo. I watched the crap out of that when I was a kid. How would I rank them from worst to best? So we're talking like the worst Scooby-Doo series to the best Scooby-Doo series. Honestly, I'm going to throw under best. I love A Pup Named Scooby-Doo. That's my personal favorite. Next one would have to be the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo because I do remember that one. What's New Scooby-Doo is pretty far down my list. Obviously, the original Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? I kind of feel like was okay at the time, but it got real idiotic real fast down the road, which is just sad. But yeah, I mean, that's how I would rank them. So definitely a pup named Scooby-Doo is my all-time favorite. Because you got to realize, when I was a kid, that's what got me into Scooby-Doo. But I had also... So that would air during the day on Cartoon Network. And then that night at like 7 o'clock, you would have the actual Scooby-Doo series. So you would have Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And I would basically be watching both. And well, I won't deny that A Pup Named Scooby-Doo is my favorite. Again, it does make a difference down the road when you end up watching A Pup Named Scooby-Doo And then later in the day, here's the grown-up Scooby-Doo. Like, here's the series that is basically these kids as fucking teenagers. And you're just like, well, why am I watching this when beforehand they were already, they were kids? But I don't know. Never exactly got into the actual Scooby-Doo one. But yeah, definitely a pup named Scooby-Doo is my all-time favorite, though. I remember What's New Scooby-Doo airing on Vortex, on the CW Vortex. I remember that, like Saturday morning deal, and I remember avoiding it like the plague. I remember avoiding it like the plague because I didn't like it. Well, how would you rank them, Alter? How would you rank your favorite from best to worst? How would you rank them? Well, I work on getting some of my stuff up here. Oh, I couldn't even begin to count all those. I lost track. I lost track of all of the movies. That's almost like the Tom and Jerry ones. Like every time you turn around, there was a new Tom and Jerry direct to video DVD. I lost track of all those massively quick. I could not keep up with them. Okay, I thought I had one. There it is, 1020. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting a couple things off that I need to take care of then after the podcast. So I'm getting them. I'm getting the stuff kind of done now for later, if that makes any sense. Okay, that's good. I mean, the best part is I finally have an excuse to break out use my really cool multi-tap. I actually got this to use for my gamer PC, but I decided I could use it for my other PC because it's really cool and it lights up when it turns on. But I need to use that. But yeah, I lost track of all of the direct to DVD Scooby-Doo movies. I lost track. I know there's like 2 of them with WrestleMania. You had that CGI abomination where Scooby was basically sacrificed, all to save Muttley, because that like aggravated the hell out of people. And I'm trying to explain it to my friend because again, she's a huge Scooby-Doo nut. And I'm explaining to her that, oh yeah, everybody's losing their shit because Dick Dastardly, was disguised as this female park ranger that Shaggy and Fred were both having the hots for. And my friend goes, so they made Dick Dastardly a woman. I'm like, you did not hear the part of that conversation. Like, he was in a disguise and they just ran with the disguise. But then again, my friend is she doesn't like transgender people, so I guess she's not really my friend anymore. Well, she still is. She still talks to my mom, but I don't think she'll talk to me ever again. But that's fine. But yeah, like I said, I have lost track of all those. You want like the worst live action ones? I will give you both of them because they both kind of sucked. The first one was Scrappy as the goddamn villain, and then you had the second one with the actual monsters. Really? Both of those sucked. Oh, yeah, they blew it. Well, keep on, as my friend had actually pointed out, she, like, again, if I would ever be on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and I would have a Scooby-Doo related question, she's the one I'm going to for an answer. I will literally go to her and say, okay, so what is the answer to this question? It's a Scooby-Doo related question because I'm probably not going to fucking know it. You want time travel? I'm your girl. You want like a computer question? I'm your girl. You're asking me about Scooby goddamn Doo? I ain't your girl. Yeah, it sounds about right because they were shoehorning in all the DC super pets. Like Crypto, the super dog. What's it? Wonder Woman's cat, Batman's dog. I know Wonder Woman's cat, Batman's dog. Yeah, there's like a whole crap ton of them. They're just shoehorning them all in. It's not that they don't care. It's, again, the IPs aren't close to expiring. So until the IPs are close to expiring, they don't care. Until their rights are close to expiring, they don't care. That's where it sadly is. If you were to say, okay, here's, let's say, a whole thing about that, you would have massive amounts of problems. Like if Scooby Doo's crossing over with, say, Batman, like the actual Batman, they would have to go, okay, so we kind of are losing the rights to this, or, well, they've been stagnant for a little bit. We want to keep the IP fresh. That's when they will pull that out of their ass. And it's horrible at that, but still. Oh, I have no idea. In all honesty, it could be anything, and that's the sad part. I mean, they could literally look at this franchise and go, well, let's have Scooby Doo crossover with, well, we already had him crossed over with Captain Caveman. How about with the Flintstones? We send them back in time, and they are suddenly, hanging out with, the Flintstones. Well, see, they kind of can't. That's the problem. Hanna-Barbera stuff is kind of intertwined with Cartoon Network because you have Boomerang, you have a lot of the other stuff, but their programs are kind of interlocked into Cartoon Network's main system. So if they tried to sell off, let's say, the IPs, or if they tried to sell off Hanna-Barbera entirely, they wouldn't be able to without massive okay and everything else. It's not a, oh, we can just get rid of it sort of deal. They have to get massive okay for that. I think they did a Scooby-Doo Goosebumps thing. Like not an actual one, but I think there was more of a like a pseudo one where they met like a mystery writer, and that mystery writer was supposedly R.L. Stine. They won't do that because Happy Gilmore was an R-rated movie, so it will never get a crossover with that because Happy Gilmore is considered an R-rated movie. They won't do Austin Powers either because Austin Powers was too sexualized. That would be degrading to children, so that one's out. I could see Tales from the Crypt because that would definitely fall under the Scooby-Doo mantra of we need, this ghost-like feel. I could definitely see that. But as far as Austin Powers or Happy Gilmore, I don't think so. Austin Powers might be a stretch, but they would have to dial it way the hell down. But Happy Gilmore, no, they won't do that. They'll actually get like an actual golfer. See, that's the thing with them. They'll get celebrities. So that's why you have John Cena in a lot of those because, oh, we'll just pay this celebrity, stand in this voice. Well, all right, PG-13, but as far as they're concerned, by nowadays standards, when it came out, yes, PG-13. You have to realize that movie came out, what, late 90s, early 2000s? What was that? No, what's that, like late 80s, early 90s? When did Happy Gilmore come out? When was Happy Gilmore released? All right, 96. Okay, in 1996 standards, yes, PG-13. By nowadays standards, unfortunately, it's a soft R. See, unfortunately, what qualifies changed a few years ago. So what would have been PG-13 back in the 90s is now a soft R now. That's why, I mean, there's stuff that's still a hard R, but take like Bloodsport, which is a hard R movie. If you would try to release that nowadays, it would be more like X-rated. But yeah, by nowadays standards, it is considered a soft R, which is sad, but it's true, unfortunately. Only downside is I love this sweater. It feels so much better when I actually have my boobs in it, but God, it just does not want to sit. Okay. Warner Brothers in 2004. Well, let's see. Universal would probably have to they would probably have something in the sale that would have to all properties that are still existing within the Cartoon Network universe. Since Warner Brothers is technically part of Cartoon Network, as the majority of their properties air on Cartoon Network and Cartoon Network subsidiaries, they might have a say in it. Though, since Cartoon Network is technically a Turner property owned by Ted Turner, unless he okays it, they're not going to bother that. As far as Warner Brothers itself, though, any stuff under their umbrella would definitely not be a good thing. That could change depending upon what happens. It could just be not more about them buying it, but more of a we're going to enter in with this, sort of like a we'll be like you'll be under our parent company, so we'll write the checks, but you still have the rights to it. Sort of like what Disney did with a lot of their stuff for a while. Like, just we'll buy, like, you'll be under our umbrella, but you'll still be your own separate thing, like Paramount and Nickelodeon and things like that, or Disney and Fox. Yeah, I could see Scooby Doo meets the Rabbits. I could see that. I could see that. I could see Scooby Doo meets the Rabbits. I have no idea how that would go though, but I could see that. I could see that. So how's your week been going, Alter? Been having a good week? Gee, I love when I get pop-ups for one of my programs that just pop right up and give me some really obscure and stupid thing. It's like, oh well, is your password still 12345 6? What idiot has a password like that? That's the password that an idiot would have on his luggage. I'm sorry, that's what the password was in Spaceballs to the air shield of Druidia. So Scooby and Shaggy got high on Scooby snacks and they're seeing rabbits. Okay. Yeah. Well, to be fair, Warner Brothers is doing that now with all the direct-to-DVD movies, like Scooby-Doo WrestleMania. I remember that one. You had that new Scooby-Doo movie where they shoehorned in a lot of the other things. Okay, let's just go to the magic tablet here. Let me go to Sam here. This is Sam, by the way. I try to name my electronics. This is Sam. Okay, so everybody say hi to Sam. This is Sam. Sam is my tablet. This is Luna, my phone. And Luna can change bodies. This is Sam, my tablet. I know, I'm crazy. All right, how many Scooby-Doo movies are there? 2 DVD, DC, DVD. I think I had asked that once before. Okay. Yep. Because my laptop, I just named A or Asus. Well, it's an Asus tablet. I don't really know a good way to name it. Morning, Optimus. Yeah, but you could just have other things screw around the Mystery Machine. Then again, the Mystery Machine doesn't actually have to be in it. The Mystery Machine wasn't in every single series. There was one where they didn't have the Mystery Machine because I think that's owned by Fred, not I think that's actually owned by Fred. Okay. So the list of direct-to-video animated films for Scooby-Doo. We have Aloha Scooby-Doo, Big Top Scooby-Doo, Chill Out Scooby-Doo, Happy Halloween Scooby-Doo, Lego Scooby-Doo Blowout Beach Bash. Really, Lego? Really? Lego Scooby-Doo Haunted Hollywood. Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders. Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase. Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. Scooby-Doo Abracadabra Doo. Scooby-Doo Adventures, The Mystery Map. Scooby-Doo and Batman, The Brave and the Bold. That one I actually do remember, and I hated it with a passion. Yeah, the Velma series can burn in hell. That Velma series can burn and rot in the fiery pits of hell. Hands down. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Scooby-Doo and Kiss. They've actually had Kiss join them. Kiss the Rock Group. You know, from when your parents were probably enjoying music back in the 70s. Kiss. The only song that I know of Kiss is I Want to Rock and Roll All Night. And that was from Action League Now. That's the only way I know that. But Scooby-Doo and Kiss, Rock and Roll Mystery, Scooby-Doo and Crypto 2, Scooby-Doo and the Curse of the 13 Ghosts, Scooby-Doo and the Goblin King, Scooby-Doo and the Gourmet Chef, Scooby-Doo and the Legend of the Vampire, Scooby-Doo and the Loch Ness Monster. The Loch Ness Monster? Really? The Loch Ness Monster? Really? The Loch Ness Monster? The Loch Ness Monster? Really? They were out of ideas for... Scooby-Doo and the Monster of Mexico, Scooby-Doo and the Samurai Sword, Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost, Scooby-Doo and WWE Curse of the Speed Demon, Scooby-Doo Camp Scare, Scooby-Doo Franken Creepy, Scooby-Doo and Where's My Mummy, Scooby-Doo Legend of the Phantasaur, Scooby-Doo Mask of the Blue Falcon. Notice how I'm not making any of this up. This is all legitimately on their website. On Wikipedia. Scooby-Doo Moon Monster Madness, Scooby-Doo Music of the Vampire, Scooby-Doo Pirates Ahoy! Scooby-Doo Return to Zombie Island. Like, they weren't done there the first fucking time, I guess. Scooby-Doo Shaggy Showdown, Scooby-Doo Stage Fright, Scooby-Doo The Sword of the Scoob, Scooby-Doo WrestleMania Mystery, and straight out of nowhere, Scooby-Doo meets Courage the Cowardly Dog, and then Trick or Treat Scooby-Doo. There are days when I honestly think the world can't get any stupider, and then I am proven right. I'm sorry, I'm proven wrong, because it does. I mean, Jesus Christ. You make so much bank off your goddamn character, and you just have him doing the same stupid... I mean, what exactly is a Scooby-Doo mystery, except point A to point B? The gang shows up at some weird-ass place, and this is what always bothered me. They were fucking hippies, for God's sake, okay? They were hippies. Shaggy was a pothead. Fred was a closet homosexual. Daphne was the prissy bitch, and Velma was essentially your closet lesbian. Okay? That was their thing. And nobody out there can deny that, because Fred had that ascot. Nobody in the 70s, nobody in the late 60s was wearing an ascot except for Freddie Jones from Scooby freaking Doo. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think the Popeye franchise would work that well with it, because it's two different art styles. Plus, I think that IP might actually be public domain now. I think it might be public domain. Don't quote me. I think. I'm not saying that I know. I think. How about Scooby-Doo meets the Avengers and just get Disney involved in this bitch? Scooby-Doo meets Stitch. They all go to Hawaii. I mean, they've already been to Hawaii. How about they run into Stitch? Experiment 626. Let's have Stitch. Scooby-Doo meets Stitch. There we go. Scooby-Doo meets the Powerpuff Girls. No, wait a minute. I can do better. I can do better than that. Hold on. Scooby-Doo and It's gonna come to me. It's gonna come to me. Scooby Doo and I have no freaking clue. Yeah, but they'd have to first off make sure that the IP rights for Popeye are available to use, that they're not held on by a company, that they're open, or if they're public domain, that they can actually access and use it. One. Two, they would have to come up with a viable story for it, which I don't see a possibility of it working. And three, it wouldn't make sense. Then again, yeah. No, I know Betty Boop is public domain, so that one wouldn't work because she is public domain. So they wouldn't do that because nobody. See, that's the problem too with some of your ideas, Alter. You're thinking too old. If they'll market and try to make something that the newer generation will latch onto immediately. It's not something that like somebody from my generation will grab onto or the past generation will grab onto. They want the newest generation to grab onto it. I don't see them making any more Scooby-Doo games. I know he was in Lego Dimensions, but I do not see them making any more Scooby-Doo games. But well, technically you are kind of right with Coolsville. Because in a pup named Scooby-Doo, that was the name of the town they were in, was Coolsville. So you're not technically wrong. I think they changed it for God, what was it? Oh, it was I think the first or the second live action Scooby-Doo movie they changed it to Crystal Cove. But beforehand it actually was Coolsville. So you aren't technically wrong. But yeah, as far as a lot of what you're thinking of would definitely be fanfics. And in all honesty, if you have a good idea for those, I highly recommend go for it. Write up a fanfic, pop it up online, and make some fan fictions. But as far as the actual company, Warner Brothers, trying to make these, they would have to go through and make sure that the properties are in public domain because they're not going to touch that if it is. If it's public domain, they're going to avoid it like the plague because they want to try to make money off of this and they can't make profit off of that because then they can't say, oh, we own the rights to this because this is now public because this is public domain. So, notice how he never actually took on Frankenstein. It was always like a monster. It looked like Frankenstein. It was supposed to resemble Frankenstein, but they never used the phrase Frankenstein because Frankenstein is actually public domain because Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is actually public domain. It is in the public domain. So because of that, they can't actually use the term Frankenstein without paying rights and or having to have everything okayed and legal, and lawyers are a pain in the ass, especially when it comes to this shit. When it comes to stuff that isn't in the public domain, all they have to do is just have a meeting with, say, well, all right, let's say that you're the other person, basically. So you have what is essentially the idea. Hey, I want to have, let's say, Scooby-Doo team up with, I'm going to go Pokemon. Yep. See, now they can have creatures or somebody that's similar to Jekyll and Hyde. They can have a story based off of Jekyll and Hyde, and they can avoid any lawsuit. They don't have to pay anybody, which is the main thing. If it's public domain, it's free. However, it also means that they cannot take massive liberties with it. They have to stick to the source material to a point. Otherwise, it is considered, in some instance, copyright infringement. It's a gray area when it comes to that, which is sad, but it's still pretty legit. Where was I? I was trying to think of something. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. Oh, no, I remember. So, like, let's say that like, you have a character and they come to you. Like, let's say it's Scooby Doo meets Pokemon. So they would have to, talk to the Pokemon company. They would have to get the approval from everybody that is involved with the Pokemon series, whoever owns the rights to it. They would have to go have a meeting with them, say, hey, we want your series, your IP to team up with our IP in a crossover like episode or a crossover movie. They would have to discuss terms. They would have to come up with a plot that meets both standards that both are okay with, because there's always a clause when it comes to these things that if, say, let's say that I had an original character and you had an original character and we wanted them to cross over in an episode. Let's say that I have a web series and you have a web series. And my web series is really popular and your web series is really popular. And we want to cross over our characters in like a 2-episode event. So we're discussing terms for this. Where it's like, yeah, so this is what my character can do. This is what your character could do. We kind of get the backgrounds of everybody, everything's laid out on the table. And then what we do is we go through and figure out, would this work? If the answer is yes, then we go on to figuring out a supposed story for it. It's that point there where a majority of problems usually end up happening, and sadly where a lot of, and I do mean a lot of, issues pop up, which basically brings an end to negotiations and why a lot of this crossover stuff fails. You need to find a story that meets the standards of both sides. You can't say have Pokemon and Digimon cross over in one thing where the Pokemon become digitized and they go into the digital world and they're fighting Digimon and they can evolve into their next evolution, but then they can go right back to normal because it's only a temporary thing. You have to find a way to explain that. And if both sides can't come up with a story that will work with that, then it's done. It's completely finished right then and there. Because a lot of times, and this is a sad truth, is that if they're in negotiations for this, they have clauses that while in negotiation, if you have this, if there's an issue with the story that doesn't fit what you want, you can actually pull the story and you can kill everything, which is sadly what happens a lot of the time. So that is sadly a thing. But yeah, Jekyll and Hyde is public domain. So, because they've had some Jekyll and Hyde stories. I remember a Scooby-Doo one where Scoob was kind of like this evil Scooby and then also a normal Scooby. So that's kind of their version of Jekyll and Hyde. It's easier to put it into a small story because it's something that's quick, simple, shove it out. It's only like X amount of minutes long and we can resolve it in like 30 minutes. Doesn't have to be perfect. If you make it longer than that, you have to come up with the concept. You need to come up with how this is tying into the story. Are we going to linger on any one part? Are we really going to like build up the suspense? Like there's this dog that looks like Scooby-Doo, but it's massively evil. It's like a ravenous, angry mastermind, a pure, unadulterated rage Scooby-Doo. You need to find a way to integrate both together. And the problem is that you sometimes don't get that with a lot of these stories. If you have it in a small 30-minute window, point A is it accidentally happens. Let's say a chemical spills on him, and until it's washed off or runs through his system, that's what he is. Point B is the results of point A, and point C is basically the conclusion from point B. That's how that kind of works. But if you stretch it out longer than 30 minutes, you have an extra point that gets thrown in there. You have point A, which is the setup for this. Like, let's say a scientist creates this formula. Point B is it gets put onto the character somehow, or they drink it, ingest it, something. Point C is now what point B was in the smaller version, with point D being the end-all conclusion, which sometimes can actually just be point E, and point D is just here's more of this crazy bullshit that's going on, and they stretch it out too far. If that helps explain any of it. I don't know if it does. If that helps explain anything. I mean, I don't know if that helps explain it or not, but that's like that's the best way that I can explain it. If that makes any sense. I remember some of the old like Scooby Doo. I think they were made for TV movies. There was one where they were in charge of like that ghoul school, where it was I think Scooby, Shaggy, Daphne, and I think Scrappy was there, or at least I know it was at least Scooby, Shaggy, and Daphne, and they were in charge of this ghoul school. Or at least Scooby and Shaggy were there. I don't know if Daphne was, but they basically were handling this ghoul school, which was kind of cool. Yeah, there were a lot of good ones. Yeah, it's because I honestly think Shaggy was in multiverses because of the meme Ultra Instinct Shaggy. So a lot of people figured, you know what, let's just throw him in this game as a character. Plus, it was an IP. They could say, okay, we have somebody from the Scooby-Doo franchise, the Scooby-Doo IP. Because where else is Shaggy from? Scooby-Doo IP. You can't exactly say, oh, that's Archie. No, that's Shaggy. So Shaggy is more of the Scooby-Doo IP. So I think with that, it was, here's one character from the IP we can throw in this. I think they had plans to throw Scooby in that, but I don't think multiverses worked that well. And then they end up chucking the idea, which really sucked because that was a good game, at least from what I saw. But then again, you also made Superman massively OP, which was idiotic. Yeah. Yep, Ultra Instinct Shaggy was a massive thing. I know Devil Artemis did like a whole thing on Ultra Instinct Shaggy. Like how Shaggy became this massive badass. And honestly, it was weird watching that. I'm not going to lie about it. That was weird to watch. But fun. Weird, but fun. Oh, there was a lot. The last one that I know of was Scooby-Doo and Goes to Five Nights at Freddy's, which was a fan-made parody that somebody did, which was really, really good. And then they actually were like, we're going to remake this with actual, like, we're going to try to get actual voices to try to voice all the characters. They want to remake that. But there are a lot of parodies. There have been tons of them. Yeah, and then, well, those weren't exactly parodies. Those were more of the going off of the Ultra Instinct Shaggy meme. Yep. Yep. So that's what you would call a parody. Then again, that's more like a sketch show, but still, I would consider that a parody. I love getting somewhat sick in fucking October, which sucks. All right, well, yeah, well, Saturday Night Live has parodied everything. Remember, they also did that goddamn, goddamn and god awful. Wario Goes to Court, which ended up getting an actual letter from Nintendo, sent to NBC Universal because of that. Yeah, for sketch shows, it's not too far fetched for them to just rip on an IP. They're allowed to because it's under parodies. That falls under fair use. Hence why Weird Al can make his parody songs. It falls under fair use. Rob Lowe is Shaggy. Yeah, Rob Lowe, who pitches Atkins and makes you all want to eat healthy. Eat Atkins. No, I don't want to eat Atkins. I'm not spending $30 for your Atkins bars. Yeah, well, you have to realize that Saturday Night Live doesn't exactly get permission before they do their ideas. They will just throw it out there and see if it sticks. So, with that, yeah, you kind of like, okay, is this for laughs, for comedy? You get it. But at the same time, you are poking fun at an IP. You're poking fun at something that is making money. There is a line sometimes, but that line can be crossed. I know Sean Schimmel, the voice of Goku, had brought this up at an anime convention. When somebody had asked him what his thoughts were on Team 4-Star and DBZA, he goes, I don't like parody stuff because it's taking the money out of my pocket. I do this for a living. Okay. One, if you're doing it for a living, then you're going to be ridiculed by somebody. You're going to have people that are going to laugh at you because of it. It doesn't matter if you're making bank. You're going to have people that at some point are going to look at you and laugh their ass off because they're going to think, ha, I can do this too, you idiot. That's the thing. So, and they weren't hurting anybody. They did say, please support the official release. Always, like, it's owned by this company, and this company. It's owned by this person and this person. Please support the official release. In other words, go buy the official stuff. This is a fan-made parody. It's made by fans who love the franchise and just want to have some fun with it. But then you have people that take it a little out of hand and go, no, you're not having fun with it. You're poking fun at a franchise that does not need to be poked fun at because you have nothing better to do. That's not what the problem is. The problem is that they're just having a laugh at the series' expense. If you can't survive long enough to effectively get to the point, mind you, where you're able to actually laugh, that's sad. Like, wholeheartedly, that's sad because I feel sorry for you at that point. I feel very, very sorry for you that you can't laugh. It is what it is, guys. No, but here's a good thing though. So like I said, my favorite Scooby-Doo franchise or my favorite series is a pup named Scooby-Doo. How'd you always like how Fred was always blaming Red Herring? Because Red Herring is basically the it's the wrong path to think, basically. So every time you're thinking, okay, so this is the Red Herring, this is the wrong path that we're taking, and it actually is a kid named Red Herring. And then the one time he actually was guilty, Fred's like, I'm not going to say it. Because every time I say it, it's not him. He pops out of somewhere. He comes over here, comes up here, calls me up and says it's not him. This time, I'm not saying it. There's no way it's him. It's not possible. And it turned out to be him, and Fred just started losing it. Like, he absolutely started losing his cool, and he started crying, literally throwing a temper tantrum because it was Red Herring. For the first time ever, he was right. He would have been right, and he just wasn't right. He didn't even want to try. So go figure on that one, right? it's a franchise that really can't end. It's just basically 4 kids and a dog. You can't exactly end it. There's no way to technically conclude it. Each series can technically end, but then you just reboot it as it's sort of always in a constant flux. It's a floating timeline. They can technically be whatever age you need them to be. Oh, they're always going to be like, let's say 16 years old. They're always going to be, 14 years old. They're always going to be that age, provided you need it for the story. Hence why Velma's supposed to be a little more mature. And instead, it's just flat out pissing people off because, well, take a goddamn look at the series and you'll see why. I mean, to be fair, I'm actually not a fan of the Velma series. I hate it, and I've only seen clips of it. And it's pissed me off, too. So, I'm with everybody that hates it. Hands up, who hates the Velma series? I do. I hate it. I hate it with a passion. I hate it with a burning passion. So, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, it is definitely not a good series to still have on. But what do I know? I mean, I'm just a simple girl. I live in the country. What do I know? I'm just a simple girl in the country. What do I know, right? Sad thing is I have like a whole bunch of weird things I have to take care of then tonight. Yeah, you're saving yourself a lot of trouble. You've never seen it. Don't bother. How it got greenlit for a second season, I don't know. But I remember reading somewhere that there's a clause that they're bringing out that if the second season was going to be as bad as the first season was, and the first season's ratings started to suck after the first like 2 episodes, that the network it was like HBO Max would yank the franchise. It's like, you will lose the franchise. If these episodes suck, even in the smallest degree, you're done. It was basically their warning. It was screw up and your ass is grass. So, yeah, don't fuck up, kids. That's your golden lesson here, boys and girls. Don't fuck up. That's your golden lesson, kids. Because if you mess up, then you're going to end up getting screwed. That's just called lazy writing. With Rocky V, the boxer, Tommy Gunn, was actually played by Tommy Gunn because he had gotten hit in the head so many times while boxing in real life that he actually couldn't remember the name that they wanted him to be, so they just changed it to his actual name so he would at least function. Why do you think George Foreman named all of his sons George? Because the guy can't take a punch to the face. Okay, that's actually a really good joke. He can't take a punch to the head. It's a George. Never mind. Never mind. There was a. Never mind. It's an old joke, basically. It's an old joke. It is an old joke. An old joke. All right. Well, you can't exactly have a Scooby Doo movie without the others because here's the downside. Scooby Doo only works if there's something for Scooby Doo to bounce off of. If you just have Scooby Doo trapped somewhere, it's not going to work that well. It's going to be boring rather quickly. Because you're watching this, you're thinking, okay, so Scooby's taking on, say, the Loch Ness Monster. Okay. And where's anybody else from this? It's just a dog. It You can't exactly just make a standalone Scooby Doo movie without having Shaggy there along for the ride. You need somebody to play off of the main character. I don't really have much else to say about Scooby Doo. That's the only downside. I mean, I'm trying. I really am, but I don't really have that much to say. Well, you know what? We can figure out what we want to talk about next week. Because, like I said, I might record early next Saturday. Because my mom is going to a thing that a friend of ours is having. I was invited, which is fine. I can stay here, keep Twix company. So I can do I can start do the podcast early next Saturday, which would be pretty cool. But what should we talk about? I thought about doing something kind of Halloween related with it being the last Saturday of the month, aka the month of Halloween. How's that sound? Like maybe I'll try to do like a costume. Okay, let me rephrase that. Try to do a costume. The last costume that I actually did was a Velma costume, ironically. Wait, do you saw that picture? I did a Velma costume. It was really weird. I don't know if I still have it yet or not. Hold on. I actually have to look. All right. See you later, Alter. Yeah, I don't think I have that anymore. Darn, that was a really good picture, too. Yep, don't have it. Thought I still did, but I don't. But yeah, I think we'll do like something Halloween related next week. I don't know what time yet. Like I said, I could probably do it early because my mom's going away. So I'll actually have, as I usually spend time with her on Saturday, but I'll probably start early. I'll probably record early. I can play some games Saturday night. That'd be a weird change up of Saturday. Play some games. I don't get to play games on a Saturday. I don't get to play games on a Saturday. It should be really cool. Yeah. We could do that. Talk about Goosebumps. I actually like a couple Goosebumps stories. There are a couple that I really like. One of them though is my all-time favorite. Try to figure out. Here's an idea, Alter. Try to figure out which Goosebumps story is my all-time favorite, because you're probably not gonna get it. You're probably not gonna get it. But let's see if you do. Till next Saturday. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Good night, Alter. Thanks for stopping by. And thank you to everybody that's tuned in after this was live. Don't forget, if you ever want to watch this live, feel free to. I'm usually here about 7:15 to 7:15. I start somewhere in between there, and usually goes for about an hour, give or take. But yeah. But anyway, everybody, I'm bowing out. So I will catch us all next week, where we're going to be talking about Goosebumps. R.L. Stein's real great, massive, thank you, not so scary children's books. Because ironically, that's what they are. They're not scary. They're not that scary. They're supposed to incite fear, but they don't. So until next Saturday, guys, I'm out of here. I'm Andrew / Jessica, and I'm gone. Catch us all next week. Bye.